Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the final round of the Raceface.Pro iRacing GT3 Championship here at the beautiful circuit of Road America. We are in for an absolute treat with some of the hardest fighting you're going to see, as drivers will now have to push themselves just a little bit further to get across the finish line and be able to stand at the top of the pack. This is going to be a wild one. This is going to be exciting, as it is now a 80-minute race. The drivers are going to have to contend with 80 minutes of brute force racing, standing at the top of this wonderful, wonderful circuit out in the USA. 6.4 kilometers long. It looks basic, but let that be only the look. It is full of difficult runs, highs and lows, ebbs and flows, and the drivers are going to have to figure out where on earth they're going to go in this 80-minute race. And that being said, there's also a very good chance of rain that may fall down on the circuit. Qualifying is underway and drivers are getting to grips with the circuit. But that being said, let's take a quick look over to our points before we get racing, because that is going to be an interesting fact. So many drivers have come through the championship, but only one can take the crown. And that is the crucial piece of information that we got to remember carrying forward. So, quick look at the points before we carry on. It is going to be Salvatore Cardi leading out the pros on 262 points, tied with the South African Werner Skuman. The Italian versus South African is up there in the battle. 208 points is Werner Skuman, Werner Swart, followed by Willem Buerta. Jacques Everlies in 5th, with Paul Gerber in 6th place. Wardrow sitting in 7th place. Jaco van der Lift sits in 8th. 9th place is Malcolm Pringle, followed by Noah Hendricks, Fars Tar, Luke Lucchesi, Yuri Umpi Swart, Yasemai, Jason Krinkers in that top 15. A little bit further down, we do have Yasin Ishmael, Bert Kildeness, Bradley Searle, who's down on 93 points in 18th position. Taking a look over to our Pro-Am, it's going to be even more of a close fight, as Joshua Sam looks like he's ran away from the pack, but needs to finish this race to be able to score and win overall. He's got Etienne Swart to contend with, along with Johan Engelbrecht, Brandon Robert, Robbie Teens, Arno Kraus is also in there for the mix. Duncan Roderick lies in 7th place with Stephen Cakebread, Fanny Kravenstein, Doe Gerber, Jaco Kutzer, Gerald Vermillion, Trevor Harper, John Durant on 151 points. And right behind him is Willem Pienaar, Lewis Nokia, Benjamin England, and Paul Webber down on 85 points. That being said, we're in for an absolute treat of racing. Once again, this will be a 80-minute race. And we have got a new driver on the grid, and this is Navin Tupa Magara, who's out there. And Navin, all the way out from the United Kingdom, making his debut outing here in the world of Raceface and looking to put on a solid charge in the only Audi in the grid that we have seen through this entire championship. So taking something a little bit different to fight his way to the top. We've also got Salvatore Cardi running in 2nd place. He wants to try and stay at the top of the pile, needing to go and walk away with the championship and being the first Italian in Raceface history to go and win overall. That is how close it is for making history in a South African league that has now gone across the world. And we're looking forward to seeing how he's going to go. But the question is, can he keep ahead of Jacques Ever, who lies in 3rd place at the moment? Willem Buerta down in 4th. Wardrow, his teammate, lies in 5th. Yasin Ishmael lies in 6th. 7th place, Jaco van der Lift, Yaz Samai, and Werner Swart is currently rounding out the pros that have set a time at the moment. There's a couple of drivers that haven't put a time on the board. Werner Skuman, who is fighting for 1st place, tied in points with Salvatore Cardi. It's crucial that he beats Salvatore Cardi to be able to take the championship. If Cardi gets ahead of Skuman, that is the championship done. It goes off to the Italians and stays away from the South Africans. Pressure comes on there. Noah Hendricks needing to put a time on the board. Let's take a look at our Pro-Am field. Stephen Cakebread leading out the charge in his Mercedes AMG GT3. He's got Jan Engelbrecht busy chasing him down. Robbie T is lying in third, and Willem Pienaar has put his time for fourth place as it stands. A couple of drivers that haven't put a time on the board is the likes of Doug Herber and your championship leader, Joshua Syme, needing to put a time on the board. Duncan Roderick needs to put a time on the board, along with Brandon Roberts and Etienne Swart. So still some time left in this qualifying session to make it work. Couple of drivers not able to put a time on the board. Jan Engelbrecht gets himself into the likes of 9th position, first in class, and he's looking to try and stand a very good chance of fighting for the top. But take a look at those lap times. A 2:03.088 is between Nevin and Salvatore Cardi at the moment. It is 0.076 between the two of them. Massive welcome to all the fans around the world out there in the virtual grandstands, like Nicola Froza, who's out there going and cheering on for Mr. Cardi, going and enjoying the celebrations. I gotta say, I quite like it to see a bit of love, a little bit of Italian love coming in for our drivers. Brandon Roberts up into second place, and these two are currently lying in the top 10 of overall as it stands. But this does bring in the fact that we still have a number of drivers that haven't put a time on the board. Doug Herbert, Joshua, Duncan, Noor, and Etienne still haven't got a time on the board. Stephen Cakebread down into third in class, but trying to pick up the pace in that Mercedes. And once again, this is going to be crucial. It's 80 minutes of racing. Legging it away at the start is what's needed to ensure stand above all. And that is where the difficulty comes in. And everyone's trying to figure out what is going to be that perfect pit stop. What is going to be the best times? What's the average times need to be as we're so close to the end of qualifying? Nevin still at the top of the board. Out from the UK, debut run, and is fighting for that top spot. Can be that joker card that is needed to force Salvatore Cardi and the likes of Werner Skuman to really push the boundaries. Werner Skuman down in 15th position. Not a good part for him as he needs to get ahead. And Jacques Ever up into third. Willem Buerta goes and finishes out his qualifying. He's going to wait a little bit more before getting out there. Brandon Roberts on an absolute amazing lap up on his personals up until the second last sector. Can he improve in the final sector? Navin getting the fastest through the second sector out on the track. And here comes Brandon Roberts. Is this going to be enough to move him out of 14th up into the top 10 as he comes bolting across the line? Brandon Roberts does improve. He gets himself up into 11th place. We got YSMI also joining us out there in the virtual grandstands. And Yaz, if I remember correctly, you're also going to be racing, which is always fantastic. It's one of the drivers that tends to communicate with us, even though it scares the heck out of us, that he's able to text and drive. What skill. But that being said, it is the end of qualifying, and we look forward to the race. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you are excited because we're in for it. The final race of the season. The longest race of the season. And it is a brawl up at the top. Is it going to be South Africa? Is it going to be Italy that takes the championship? Will history be made here at Road America? Nevin McGurr sits in first place. We got Salvatore Cardi in second place, along with Jacques Ever in third. Willem Buerta, Yassine Ishmael Wadro sitting in sixth. YSMI, Werner Swart, and Jan Engelbrecht sits in ninth. Rounding out our top 10 is Joshua Syme, who is the leader of our Pro-Am in the championship, but way off the mark of where he needs to be to win overall. Brandon Roberts lies in 11th place with Jacob van der Lith in 12th position. A little bit further down, we have got Stephen Cakebread, Etienne Swart, Werner Skuman, who is fighting for the championship and is way down the order where he wants to be. Robbie Teen sits in 16th position, followed by Willem Pienaar, Noah Hendricks, Doug Herber, and Duncan Roderick round out our 20th position. Do have one sitting in 21st, and that's going to be Paul Herber to join in the fray, but did not make qualifying. He's going to be starting at the back end of the field and trying to claw his way to the sharp end. This is going to be a wild, wild race for everyone. And lots of eyes going to the brand new driver debuting here at Raceface.Pro, like to Nevin. Nevin Tupper is looking to fight his way to the top and to go and brawl it out. Take a look at this. The top three set from different countries. England, Italy, South Africa. This is going to be a brutal race. And yes, you best concentrate on it. I got an absolutely amazing chocolate milkshake lined up when you get this one right. And once again, big thank you for the pedals. It went through a couple of owners before you, but thank you very much. Righty-o! How are we going to see? Because take a look at the front grid. It is Audi, Ferrari, Mustang, Porsche that are locking out the top 4. Multiple manufacturers, 3 different countries in for the fight. And this is where life's going to get interesting. Navin hasn't raced against any of the South African grid. Salvatore Cardi is looking for his first championship win here in Raceface.Pro and will be the very first Italian to win a South African championship. And this is going to be light years. This is going to be great. History is a chance being made, but he has got 2 top-tier contenders behind him, Jacques Evans and Willem Buerta, who have been improving and fighting all season long, are looking to fight it out. Likes of Eduardo running a little bit further down. He wants to back up his teammate, gain some points, and be able to fight. He's lying in 5th place. He's got Yassine Ismail lying on his right-hand side, and he's going to be well aware of it. Now, what the drivers are doing, are they just building up a little bit of heat into their tires and brakes? So the quick movement left to right is starting to generate heat into the tires. They want to get as much heat into those carcasses of the tires that they'll be ready. You'll notice a little bit of brake drag from the drivers as well, just to also get the brakes nice and warm, that they're able to stop a bit easier and flood the rim with heat, warming up the tire even further. Remember, these cars do not have tire warmers at the start of the race. So you're on ice cold tires, and it is cold out there, and with a chance of possible rain during the course of this 80 minutes, it's going to be a wild one indeed. And we are keeping an eye towards the front. UK, Italy at the front, and South Africa in the second row looking to fight it out. This is going to be a championship in the making, and it's going to be a wild one. So while our legacy Porsche pace car gets ready to pull off the circuit, honestly, it's phenomenal to see this car, but a possibility that this Porsche may change in next season as our official safety car. So yeah, we're might be saying farewell to this very, very amazing safety car. Might be moving on to some other bigger things. But that being said, Navin, Salvatore, Willem, Jacques, Eduardo, all looking to fight it out, making their way around the circuit. Pro-Am, ready to brawl. It's going to be wild. It is all on the line. Who is going to stand on the top? Who will be victorious? Who will be ready to rock and roll as our chopper cam gets ready? Our blimp cam is in the clouds. That is not what they have planned. Yes, am I ready at the go? Werner Swart, Yassine, along with Eduardo, Willem Buerta, Navin, Salvatore Cardi, as they're getting ready to roll. One last time, 80 minutes for round 6, the final round of the championship of the Raceface.Pro GT3 iRacing Championship. History ready to be made as the lights will start to turn on at the start-finish line. The safety car gets ready to go. They will make their way out through the forest. It is going to be a hard left into a very tight right, looking down the main straight where it's flooring all the way uphill, and then into turn 1. Who will be able to fight their way through? One mandatory pit stop where they have to change all their tires. Our safety car dives in for its final time. It is lights on, waiting to go as they up through the crest. Road America, final round, and a race
Green
flag as they go. Navin trying to quickly break the slipstream. Salvatore Cardi immediately tucks in the toe. Jacques Evans gets a jump on Willem Buerta as they head into turn 1. Eduardo a little bit further back, trying his best to hang on, as we do see Salvatore Cardi immediately attacking the back end of Nevin as it stands as they continue on the charge. An absolute brawl of note between the drivers as they all nose to tail, trying to get some heat into these tires, trying to get going. Jacques Ever utilizing a little bit of power of the Mustang, going on the attack on the right side. Salvatore Cardi stuck on the inside line. This is going to be a bit of a rough one as we do see some battles in the back. Brandon Roberts being one of the drivers there, trying to force his way through. And it's side by side for our leaders. Nevin stuck on the outside. Salvatore Cardi up on the inside as they push on. Jacques Ever losing a bit of momentum. Villemurta trying to get into the fray as a change up for the lead. Villemurta deals with the likes of Yasin and Jacques Ever just ahead of him. Wardrow just hanging in the back there, hoping for his opportunity in for this fight. Drivers all trying to figure out what is going to be the game plan here. How are they going to make it work? Joshua Syme leads out the Pro-Am field, and he has put himself firmly between Jacob van Lith and Brandon Roberts, but he keeps the pressure on Yasemai ahead, as we do see Werner Swart trying to make a little bit of a comeback here. Yasin Ishmael fighting side by side with Wardrow up on the sides, and this is going to be a brawl. Ferrari versus Porsche, and oh my heavens, that is a big mistake from Wardrow. He's able to bring it back, but he loses our position. Werner Swart now tries to fight back, comes back at him, looking for the outside. Joshua getting the run, and looks to put his nose in. He gets the pass done and dusted. Wardrow down a little bit further. Jakob van Lith now feeling the pressure. Yes, am I. Brandon Roberts trying to get past him as well, as we do see Jan Engelbrecht trying to also get into the pass as well. Werner Skuman slowly but surely trying to climb his way back through the order, up on the inside with the Porsche, gets flat on the gas, trying to pull away. Jan Engelbrecht, Etienne Swart, and Stephen Cakebread continue on the charge as they fight it up for the Pro-Am class. They got Noah Hendricks in the Pro class, but take a look at this. A little bit of bump drafting coming into play here. Stephen Cakebread trying to go for the inside line. This is going to be 3 wide into turn 1. Not ideal circumstances. Who's going to back out? And it looks like Etienne Swart backs out of it. He doesn't want to get involved in any shenanigans here. Stephen Cakebread loses out the momentum. Jan Engelbrecht gets his nose ahead and tries to power on through. Robbie Teens getting into the fights as well, a little bit further back. Clean racing out towards the top. Some great racing being had by all the drivers. Werner Swart trying to get the pressure back onto Yasin Ishbel as the drivers figure out what they need to do to stay in the fight. And it does look like Philip keeping a nice consistent pace, hoping that he can stay in the charge here with Jacques Ever, as they do not want to lose track of Nevin and Salvatore Cardi, who have already started to open up a 1 second gap to them. 1.5 seconds, might I add. That is not helping their case and will be fighting out. Doug Herbert trying to fight with Etienne Swartz at the moment, a little bit ahead. They do see Robbie Teens just ahead of him in that top 5 position. And the nuts and bolts going and fighting it out. Robbie Teens trying to keep it all together. Has ventured out into the dirt once, twice, 3 times more, but he's not wanting to push it any further, as we see Noah Hendricks following Stephen Cakebread through, just hoping for any opportunity at this point. Stephen Cakebread wanting to keep on the back of Jan and just follow through. Now, the question is, as we do see a change of position, Jacob van Lith going and gaining a position over Wadro, just getting the drive through. 1 hour and 20 minutes is a long race, as we see Bannon Roberts, big dive on the inside of Yes and Mike, gets it done and dusted. But this is going to be a 1 hour 20 minute race. 1 mandatory pit stop to change all 4 tires to continue on with the race. That means your setups are going to be a little bit heavier, but they're also catering as, oh, that is a big mistake for Awado, going and out braking himself into the final corner, trying to rejoin. He goes and chucks up a whole lot of dirt through the final corner. He's got no drive and will fall down the order. Here comes Robbie Teens, Etienne Swart, and Doug Herbert trying to make their way through, as we do see Robbie Teens get the pass done and dusted. Etienne Swart not close enough to capitalize, but he is going to try for the inside line. Underbraking does get it done and continues on his charge through. Paul Herbert makes up his climb and will get ahead. Unfortunately, Willem Pienaar has not gone and had a fun time. He's unfortunately out of the race. And let's quickly take a look back to what happened. This is Willem Pienaar turned around and came to a stop on the track, trying to reverse the car to get himself going, and maybe just running into some problems there. Willem Pienaar, unfortunately, getting turned around early on has pushed him out, and he landed up in pit lane and now needing to get some work done. So here's Filipino after his return back. He's trying to get himself going way down the order, but still sticking in there. Good to see, not giving up as yet. Anything can happen. Finalised on the climb, trying to catch up to Salvatore Cardi, considering both side by side in the points and both needing to beat one another to be called a victor at the end, to be the champion. History to be made. Finalised, who has fought it out in ACC. He's won a Assetto Corsa Competizione championships, but hasn't won an iRacing championship as yet. He's hoping to go and make a bit of history here. Same as Joshua Side. If there is a win in both Salvatore Cardi and Joshua get the win here tonight, they will end up being the very first two to take the South African championship out of South Africa. This is a major, major thing, as it's never happened before in the entirety of Raceface.Pro history. Salvatore Cardi puts in the fast lap time at 2:03.1. He's pushing a bit harder now. Nathan trying to close up the gap with that Audi R8. Jacques Ever down in third place. Hopes to fight it out, but is just sitting in no man's land at the moment. Wardrobe now catching up to Noah Hendricks and getting past the likes of Robbie Teens. And now Robbie hangs into the balance here. Noah Hendricks hopes to defend, goes to the outside line, and unfortunately just not able to do so. That is Brandon Roberts, however, parked in the dirt. Brandon Roberts turned round in the dirt, gets himself going. Doesn't look like any damage to the car, but that is definitely thrown down the order. Let's quickly take a look. Oh, just spun the rear wheels up. And that was it. Game over. Parked the Proton Velocity machine, unfortunately. Not having an easy time out there, and rejoins ahead of Duncan Roderick, who chases down the Panacity driver, hoping to make it work. Oh, sorry, Team Tryhard. Duncan Roderick actually sporting a new livery. And was so looking at it as like, that's Panacity colors, but no, it's not. Team Tryhard going and sporting a little bit of pink for Women's Month. Good to see out there. Lovely to go and see a change of colors. Just need Arno to come in with his Lego colors to show off as well. Joshua leads out our Pro-Am field and keeps an eye on the front. He wants to try and close up. One of his game plans is actually to catch up to these two, Finalised and Yasin Ishmael, who continue to fight it tooth and nail. And Yasin just keeping himself in check at the moment. Runs out a little bit wide, touches the dirt, tries to get a good exit in through the S's now. And it's all about carrying the momentum, light on the throttle, don't push too hard. You may run into a bit of an issue. Stephen Cakebread closes up on the likes of Wardrobe, who's down from where he needs to be. But this is playing into the hands of Noah Hendricks, who may have an opportunity to gain a position here. Will be focusing on the charge. He wants to try and get the climb, make it work out in his favor. It's nose to tail racing on the way through, and drivers focusing on a great run. Paul Herber started from pit lane, now onto the back of Duncan Roderick, and looks to try and get his pass done and dusted to try and claw his way back through the order. In through the slipstream, side by side they go, and does get a little bit ahead. The Chev having the legs down the main straight. And this is going to force Duncan Roderick back a little bit, but not for class position. And now he can utilize the toe to pull himself a bit closer to Brandon Roberts. It is still a fight out all the way through the field. Wardrobe and Stephen Cakebread fighting it out. Noah Hendricks staying in the mix there as well. So we do see Robbie Teens dealing with Yaz Samai up on the inside. Yaz goes for the search. Robbie Teens, a little bit of a close call between the two of them. Side by side, both sharing a bit of paint. And Doe Herber saying, oh, after you. Go and fight it out. I want this to happen. Yaz Samai goes around the inside. And that is going to be Robbie Teens, who went around the outside, had the switchback. He is able to keep on going, but this has brought Doe Herber into contention. Doe looks to the inside, gets closed off by Yaz Samai, who has tunneled vision right onto the back of Robbie Teens. And this is brought into the matter of Etienne Swart fighting out for class position. Etienne Swart now turning it into a 4-horse race between them and looks to stay in for the fight as well. So it's turning into a bit of a wild one for our Pro-Ams to fight out against the pros. But now, this is going to be an interesting time. The McLaren's got some big legs to get away on the straight, but just can't get past the Chev of Doe Gerber, who holds the inside line. He goes to middle, protects the line. Etienne Swat forced to come off the gas a little bit and wait. YSMI carries the momentum through right up against the back of Robbie Teens, and then he's going to utilize the slipstream going through the final corner. Keep it nose to tail, get over the crest, and then start looking towards the inside line, as we have seen time and time again from all our drivers. Middle of the circuit they go, and no driver has gone through the pit lane as yet. They want to try and push a little bit further, as we do see Robbie Teens guards the inside line, forcing Yaz to go around the outside. Late on the brakes, however, Robbie Teens still holds on, trying everything he can to hold on to 14th position overall. Brandon Roberts sets the fastest lap time of the race for the Pro-Am field. He's trying to also push that little bit harder, and we back into a 4-horse train fighting their way through. A little bit further up, we do have Jaco van Lith up on the inside, trying to get the pass done. Unfortunately, loses out to Werner Skuman, and Joshua Syme, who leads out the Pro-Am field, will suddenly see that Werner Skuman is on the climb up through the order. He does not want to hang back and wait it out, as we also look back to Noah Hendricks and Stephen Cakebread. They are brawling all the way through, utilizing every part of the circuit possible, going out a little bit wide and continue on the drive. Salvatore Cardi leading Navin by 1 second, but it's slowly being brought down every so often through the different sectors, as Navin is not backing down. We do know that the Audis are insatiably quick with that screaming V10. They're able to get into the fight. Back down the order though, it's Yasin and Werner Swart fighting out for 5th and 6th in the pro class and overall. Werner Swart waiting a little bit more, just trying to pick his opportunities to make it work in his favor. Yasin, who continues on the charge, trying to bring it back towards the top. The Porsche driver not having an easy time here as he continues on his momentum. Salvatore Cardi having a little bit of a problem, touching the dirt every so often, and we got reports of YSMI, a problem with YSMI. Let's quickly take a look what happened. He was right up against Robbie Teens, went to the inside, late on the brakes, maybe a little too late, goes up and around. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Robbie Teens goes off, and unfortunately, YSMI as well. Robbie Teens sporting just a little bit of damage after that slight clip of the wall. He does rejoin the circuit, but unfortunately, both cars down the order from where they wanted to be. Not ideal circumstances, and now it's going to be a bit of hard work. They do have fast repairs underneath their belt that they're able to utilize during the course of this race to get back in and going, and that is being already capitalized by Robbie Teens, getting the pit stop done and dusted, as we do see Jaco van Lith keeping the pressure on Joshua Syme, who loses out to Werner Skuman, and now Jaco van Lith tried to look to get past the Pro-Am leader, who is stuck between the pros. He is continuing to fight it out and hoping to push that a little bit harder up through the order. Werner Skuman from the Pandacity team didn't have the best of qualifying, and now he wants to make this work. He wants it to be a possibility to get the win. Robbie Teens in pit lane, getting his pit stop done and dusted. Where is that going to push him out at the end of it? Well, only time will tell. Jaco van Lith keeping the pressure on Joshua Syme a little bit further back. Wardrow keeping the pressure on the likes of Johan Engelbrecht. And Johan not having an easy time out there, tries to get as much acceleration out of the corners. The Ferrari just insatiable behind him, looking for any opportunity to get by. And we did see a little bit further up another fight between a McLaren and a Ferrari. Jaco van Lith looks to the inside, late on the brakes, gets past Joshua, who doesn't argue too much there, knows that, listen, you're in a separate class to me. I'm going to focus on my drive. I have to worry about Johan Engelbrecht, who is starting to make up a bit of headway here. So you either pull me along, or we're both in for a very, very hard time. Fights up through the field. Yasin Ismail and Werner Swart continue on the charge as they battle through. Now, this is going to be the question. These drivers, are they going to push it to 45 minutes, then get in the box, change tires, and get back out to continue the race? That is going to be the thought process for most of the drivers, but others are looking to the sky, and that is where it gets a little bit tricky, because if we look at our weather at current, we do have a possibility of rain. Humidity is very high, there is cloud cover, and possibility of rain to come down a little bit later during the course of this race. And that is where life gets a little bit interesting. We do, however, see there is a problem for Wargo going and landing up a little bit further down. Let's take a look what happened to the Italian driver. Oh, has a snap on the rear. Slows it down. Oh, just couldn't stop out on the grass. Smashed the entire rear end of the car. And unfortunately had to tow back to the pits. Not ideal circumstances, but will be able to get it repaired and get himself sorted out. Just having that snap oversteer midway through the corner. Hanged on the TC. And unfortunately, when it all let go, it let go properly. Dirk Huber dealing with Etienne Swartz at the moment. But behind them, Brandon Roberts and the brother of Dirk Huber, Paul Huber, makes his climb. Now, Paul, unfortunately, wasn't there for qualifying, but has steadily made his climb up through the order. He's up 5 positions from where he started, 2 positions up on the pros, and continues to try and make a bit of headway. He's got Brandon Roberts for a bit of company ahead of him, who has had a difficult race nonetheless, and will be trying to figure out an opportunity. So we do see the likes of Etienne Swart forcing Dirk Huber a little bit more defensive, under braking through the right-hander as he gets on the gas in through the S. Now, we do see a lot of rubble sitting out on the fringes of the circuit. A lot of marbles out there that will make life interesting. So you want to balance the throttle all the way through and not get caught out, as it will absolutely ruin your day as Paul Huber goes and visits the felt and brings a little bit back onto the circuit as well. Fight for our 4th and 5th place. Dirk Huber and Etienne Swart continue on the charge to try and fight their way through. Noah Hendricks and Joshua Syme fight for overall track position. Etienne Swart putting in the fastest lap time of the Pro-Am field and continues on the climb through the order. He wants to make this work, and it is going to be a tough fight indeed. So Salvatore Cardi leads out the pack with the likes of Navin right behind him. Navin 1.1 seconds behind the Audi driver, keeping it nice and clean. Oh, a little bit of a slide coming in as well, trying to put the power on a little bit too early there. Jacques Ever in 3rd place. The Mustang just not able to keep up. Willem Buerta keeping consistent as he's got Yassine Ishmael and Werner Swart close in company. A little bit further down, Werner Schumann holds 7th place, followed by Jakob van Lith, Joshua Syme and Noah Hendricks, who runs out wide. Jan Engelbrecht is in 2nd place. Stephen Cakebread runs 3rd of the Pro-Ams, 12th overall, followed by Dirk Huber, Etienne Swart, Brandon Robert, Paul Huber, Yaz Samai, along with Duncan Roderick, Willem Pienaar, and Robbie Teens. So drivers still continuing to fight on. Paul Huber up on the inside of Brandon Robert, lets him go by, and will continue on the charge up through the order. Brandon Robert, however, is not going to be taking this line down, as he doesn't want to fall down into the 15th position. He wants to try and make up a bit of time, as we do still get reports that McKinnon, unfortunately, not having an easy time out there, waiting to go back out on track after that break he had. And the rear of the car looking less than suitable for driving. Dirk Huber and Etienne Swart fight it out. Etienne Swart up on the inside, had to back out of it, though keeping a consistent line. Out a little bit wide, brings the nose back in, protects the line, and will now carry a little bit of momentum down the main straight. Etienne Swart falls into the toe, trying to figure out where is he going to make this work as they head towards turn 1, up through the gears, the fastest of the circuit, and it's going to be late on the brakes, feed it through, a lot of trail braking, up into 3rd, into 4th on the exit. You got to carry the momentum into the right-hand bend, not going to work out now. Carry a lot of momentum through the right-hander. Now it's a charge down the hill. This is where you want to start lining yourself up, getting down below the crest. Aim for the inside to get the pass done and dusted. Dirk Huber defending that inside line is ensuring that it isn't going to happen too easy here. He wants it to work out in his favor, and there is the set. Etienne Swart goes for the set up on the inside. Is he enough for the brakes to make it happen as they come over the crest? Etienne Swart, Dirk Huber, we're fighting it out, but take a look. Swart miscalculated, and now Paul Huber is into the back of him, waiting for his opportunity to get on by, and will be doing so. Remember, these two are not fighting out for class, but Paul Gerber can assist Doe into going and making a bit of a gap for class position. Now this is where the team game comes in. Will Doe Gerber go and open up the gap a little bit more, or will he feed Etienne Swart, the Alton Carbon Racing, into Paul Gerber to allow the pass to happen and then have a little bit more of a buffer? Take out to look to the virtual grandstand. We got Lawrence, we got 5-7 Sim Racing, all cheering on, going and fighting it out there for all the drivers looking for the championships. Etienne Swart continues on the drive. Doe Gerber not having an easy time, looks up to try and defend the line, didn't quite work out in his favor, continues to push on. Doe defends the inside. Swart getting a little bit more pace on the outside, but take a look at how much marbles, how much dirt is on the track that's getting kicked up on these tires, and they'll have to contend with it. Werner Swart now taking the dive. He's going to go around the outside of Paul Gerber, but now take a look. Doe and Paul working with one another. Doe defends the inside line. Swart around the outside is going to lose out the drive, and Paul try to capitalize on it. Doe once again inside line to protect. Swart getting desperate, round the outside. Can he make it stick, however? He loses a little bit of drive, and take a look who they brought with them. Brandon Roberts now closes up the gap. Side by side they go. It is going to be a brawl for the Pro-Am class, with one pro sitting in between Brandon Roberts and these three. Swart up on the inside. Doe Gerber around the outside, closes the door just enough to get the momentum, and will continue on the charge. Paul Gerber trying to get involved in the fight. He takes a dive on the inside. Paul Gerber gets a pass done on both Doe and the likes of Werner and gets it done and dusted. Paul Gerber now leaves the Pro-Am field to fight it out. Doe will now have to battle against Brandon Roberts and Etienne Swart. Etienne now needs to try and figure out what he needs to do to move forward. What is going to be the idea here? What's the strategy at play for him to move up through the order? So drivers trying to figure out what is going to work out for them, and it is all letting go here at the final round of the Raceface.Pro iRacing GT3 Championship in the longest race this season. 80 minutes of pure strategy, pure driving, and outright most grit you can ever throw down. Willem Pienaar and Wardrow still going and fighting on. Unfortunately, it does look like we lost the likes of the Wardrow. He's unfortunately out of the race. That is not good to see. So it looks like they weren't able to get that Ferrari 296 all sorted out, but he will be assisting his teammate Salvatore Cardi, who now starts to have a bit of pressure put on as Navin a little bit closer. Salvatore Cardi making little mistakes around the circuit and losing out that time. Navin slowly crawling in, ready for the fight. Remember, Navin has got no skin in this game right now. He's making his debut and proving a point here at Raceface.Pro. And by catching up to Salvatore Cardi, who is fighting for the championship, he may be the absolute joker card needed to go and allow likes of Werner Schumann to get into a fight. That being said, let's head back to our battles. It's Brandon Robert and Doe Gerber fighting it out tooth and nail. Brandon Robert, big send on the inside, gets a pass on Doe Gerber. Doe trying to get the drive out on the exit. Couldn't quite get it done, and now Etienne Swart keeps it close by, right into the back bumper, and will be on the chase. This is where the track will start to feel a little bit strange, as we can see the rain is possibly on its way. The clouds are getting a bit thicker out there. Everyone having to keep a very close eye. This is where a lot of communication comes in of what's happening, as we do see the pass. Etienne Swart and Doe Gerber sweeped in on the inside to get the pass done, and now need to carry the momentum to catch up to Brandon Roberts. Drivers still continuing on in this incredible race as they move forward. It's Salvatore Cardi and Navin now getting a little bit closer since we saw them at the start. Navin hoping that he can keep the pressure on. Cardi hoping to keep it all together as they fight it out. So it's Salvatore Cardi that leads out the field. And that being said, Joshua Syme down into 3rd place. Now, this is a very, very interesting situation because we didn't see what happened to Joshua, that he lost out 2 positions. He was leading out by a far margin. Let's quickly go and take a look at what actually happened to our Pro-Am leader. So all looking fine under braking, 2 wheels on the dirt. Oh, just couldn't slow the car down enough. Rejoins, losing out that top podium position to young Engelbrecht and Stephen Cakebread as they come launching on by, battles to get the car back on track, and will be trying to claw his way back into contention, lying in the 3rd spot as it stands. Duncan Roderick getting the pass on Doug Herber, who dives into pit lane. So we have got 2 cars. We got Doug Herber into pit lane, getting his pit stop done and dusted. Remember, it is mandatory for a full tire change to then continue on. Open setups with these cars so you can choose how much fuel you're going to carry and how far you're willing to go. Doug Herber, on the other hand, has opted to get the pit stop done now and not suffer with it a little bit later, hoping that he can just push himself for the next hour and a bit, next below an hour time of racing. So this is going to be an interesting call for the drivers of what they want to do. We're basing a lot of the ideas of a 45-minute run, as we do see a quick flash of light. Salvatore Cardi trying to let Robbie Teens know, listen, hey, I'm catching up to you. This is going to be a bit of a problem. Flashing his lights. Now, there is no reason for Robbie Teens to get out of the way, but he's being a gentleman here. Gets out of the way for both the drivers, and the likes of Jacques Ever also flashing his lights from yards back. That's never going to work. It only works if you're within half a second. If you're flashing from yards back, all that you're doing is you're having a disco by yourself and irritating the driver that's ahead of you. Wouldn't recommend doing it, and flashing his lights berserkly, not the best idea in the world. That being said, well done to Robbie Teens for having a little bit of knowledge of the circuit, allowing the guys to go on by. That doesn't cost himself too much time and costs the drivers with him too much time. So well done, Robbie Teens. Good to see. Great ideas on the circuit and focusing on the charge, as we do see the Badger joining in. And hello, glad to see you here. And also, well done on your stream a little bit earlier. It was good to see the ZA streamers out there on Twitch for ZA Badger. Nevin keeps the pressure on Salvatore Cardi. Jacques Ever got by cleanly, and Robbie Teens now utilizes the toe right behind him. Now, Robbie Teens is in a very interesting position because he looks to follow the leaders through, keeping the toe, bring himself a little bit closer to the likes of Doe Herber up ahead, 12 seconds. Now, remember, Doe on this point has pitted. It's one of the very few drivers that has done an earlier pit stop in the 26-minute mark in this 1 hour and 20-minute race. And that is going to be the make or break for a lot of these drivers. Yeah, so also trying to pick up the pace in his Porsche, hoping to keep it all consistent at the moment, catching up to Etienne Swart. 21 drivers started this race, 20 still continue, and it is now opening up. The field has opened up as we do see a bit of repair work being done to Awadro's car. Unfortunately, due to that massive amount of damage to his car, that hasn't worked out in his favor. Salvatore Cardi and Navin continue to focus on their charge and will be trying to move their way up through the order. Navin, once again, early on the brakes, carries a lot of momentum through. The Audi has got an absolutely beautiful, in terms of trail braking, you can get it in and out of the corners a lot better. Rotation works on it, and also, not to be a problem here, it is able to go and catch up on tire usage compared to the Ferrari. Now, the Ferrari 296 is most certainly not a slow-down car. It's definitely not the worst car out there in the field. But that being said, it is a lot heavier on the tires. Brandon Robert now diving into the pit lane. And this is where it's going to come in. Who's got enough tire life to go that extra mile? Who's got enough in the tank to go the extra mile? They have to do the mandatory pit stop. You know these cars can do 1 hour of running on a full tank, but that absolutely kills the tires, and especially on a circuit like this of Road America. It is a tall order to try and protect the tires. And that's going to be the interesting one. Brandon Robert, however, landing up, going into pit lane, and got himself towed back into pit lane. So what on earth happened to Brandon Roberts that he needed to be towed back? So let's quickly take a look and try to find out what happened. So this is Etienne Swart getting past Brandon Roberts. There he is in pit lane, but why did Brandon Roberts jump to pit lane? That is very peculiar. So he came in fine and just stopped in his box. So a bit of an odd one there. We'll try and keep up to date to what's happening of what happened to Brandon Roberts. But that was a huge drop down, and we just got to reset that he is out and going. So good to see that nothing crucial happened to him, but a crucial point to the race. Salvatore Cardi into pit lane. Navin now takes the lead of the race along with Jacques Ever into second place. So this is now in for an absolute treat. Who is able to push himself out a little bit more? Who's willing to go the extra mile? Werner Skuman goes into pit lane as a reaction to Salvatore Cardi. Willem Werter moves up into third. Yassen Ishmael up into fourth place. And the Werner Swart continues on the drive. Jaco van der Lith and Noah Hendricks keeping within one another and will chase down. Jan Engelbrecht has not gone for the pit lane as yet. Seen likes of Stephen Cakebread and Joshua have not dived for the pits. But take a look. Paul Gerber now on the back of Joshua. Now this is a crucial moment for Joshua, whether he's going to allow the pro driver through of Paul Gerber to help carry him a little bit towards the sharp end of the field, or is he going to run into a bit of a problem here and try and brawl it out between the two? Once again, pit stops, crucial point of the race, and can make or break your race. Remember, this is a mandatory single stop race. Paul Gerber's done his stop. Salvatore Cardi's done his stop. Along with Brandon Robert, Doe Gerber, Robbie Teens, Willem Pienaar, they have all done their stops. Yes, am I yet to do his stop. The entire top 7 of Pro have yet to do their stop. The entirety of the top 5 of the Pro-Am are yet to do their pit stop. Well, Paul Gerber having a bit of a tough time out there, fighting out with Joshua, who protects his lines. He does not want to lose the pace here, and Joshua gets to fight it out against the pro driver of Paul Gerber. These two brawling amongst one another will have an opportunity yet again to go at it, as the likes of Stephen Cakebread a little bit further up the road is going to be rather thankful for this attack and will be focusing on his drive up through the order. Jaco van der Lith and Noah Hendricks continue on the charge. Jaco van der Lith trying to get a little bit of momentum. Noah Hendricks keeping very, very close, making sure he can hang on the back there. Got to make sure he's not going to lose out too much time, and will focus on the charge. Nose to tail racing they go. Noah not backing down, forcing Jaco van der Lith to go that little bit harder. Quick look towards pit lane and decided, nope, not going to go for it. And we do, however, get some reports in that Werner Skuman has gone and got himself through the pits. Let's quickly take a look. This is Werner Skuman actually having a bit of a problem. So some dirt on the wheels, went into the left-hander, and oh, just the rear coming out from underneath him. Cold tires, pushing way too hard, and that unfortunately spun him out, losing a bit of time. He is under so much pressure right now, and it's starting to show as he's lost a little bit of ground to Salvatore Cardi. Noah Hendricks fights it through with the likes of Jaco van der Lith, and it's Jaco van der Lith who loses out the drag race to the likes of Noah Hendricks. It was side by side for a long time between them, but a good run nonetheless. Paul Gerber gets the pass, finally locked it in ahead of Joshua Syme, who's going to try and come back at him under braking. Wasn't close enough to capitalize, and will have to settle down into a rhythm to try and bring himself a little bit closer to Stephen Cakebread. 3 seconds up the road, 3.5 seconds up the road, and Paul Gerber trying to now stretch open that gap just a fraction more. Noah Hendricks dealing with likes of Jaco van der Lith, continuing on the charge. Navin, Jacques, Willem, Yasin, Werner, Noah Hendricks, Jaco van der Lith have not done their pit stops. They will still need to get it done, and that is going to change the entire dynamic of the race, along with Jan Engelbrecht, Stephen Cakebread, Joshua Syme, Etienne Swart, Duncan Roderick. They have not gone into pit lane. They will need to do it. Well, I'll talk about that. Jacques Ever pulls into pit lane while Navin, our leader, goes yet another lap in this race. mandatory pit stop or not, he is going to push himself a little bit further in. Jaco van der Lith continues on the charge, trying to get the pass on Noah Hendricks, not able to do it. Willem Buerta up into second place. Jacques now starts to become a lead weight, dropping down after 35 minutes of racing. It is still heating up out here. 1 hour and 20 minutes worth of racing that needs to be done. And the final round of the championship. All the points to play with, and with the championship on top of one another. This is going to be a close call for every single one of the drivers. Noah Hendricks defends against Jaco van der Lith, making sure that the pass will be done. The pass will be sorted. And that being said, at the end of this, we will get to know who is the provisional champion. We will get that out to you guys. We will notify you live on the broadcast of who finishes first, second, and third of the championship. Take a look. Jaco van der Lith gets a pass on Noah Hendricks, who made a crucial mistake. Went out a little bit wide. It's in SWAT. Duncan Roderick into the pit lane and getting themselves sorted. Noah Hendricks continues on the charge with Jaco van der Lith right in the mix. Salvatore Cardi now chasing down Jacques Ever. Now, Jacques Ever did do his pit stop, got a little bit ahead, but now is trying to bring the tires up to a great temperature for him to deal with. Salvatore Cardi, on the other hand, has got it all figured out and now trying to push himself out a little bit more around the outside, look towards the cutback. Jacques Ever not allowing the pass to happen as they go side by side up over the hill, late on the brakes. Salvatore Cardi around the outside. Oh, contact between Cardi and Jacques Ever that's twisted him around. He rejoins on circuit, putting quite a bit of marbles out there, but that did not play into his favor. That, however, did work out for likes of Werner Skuman, who would suddenly see from 30 seconds is now 21. He knows time's worked out in his favor, but a little bit of contact between Salvatore Cardi and the likes of Jacques Ever has thrown Salvatore Cardi into a rough stead. Jaco van der Lith keeping the pressure, tries to do everything he can to defend from Noah Hendricks as they do a drag race down. Willem Buerta into pit lane. Side by side they go. Oh, contact has been made. Jaco van der Lith off the circuit. Noah Hendricks continues on. And that, unfortunately, lands up with a bit of a problem. A massive flash of the lights, however, comes from Jaco van der Lith. But unfortunately, Noah Hendricks was so far away, he wouldn't have even seen the lights. That, unfortunately, is tempers starting to fly here at Road America as drivers are leaving nothing to chance. They are fighting with a very fine line of win or lose between the drivers. Joshua into the pits for his pit stop. Stephen Cakebread, however, has not done his pit stop, along with now into the top 5. Jan Engelbrecht now sits first in the Pro-Am class and in the top 5. It is brawl. It is fight out here at Raceface.Pro for the final round of the iRacing GT3 Sprint Championship. And there is so much on the line. Salvatore Cardi now onto the back of Willem Buerta. Will continue to try and figure out where he can get the pass done and dusted. Look towards the inside. Takes a huge dive. The Porsche of Willem Buerta mines out of the way and will look to try and close up the pace. He did not want to lose the racing line there. Salvatore Cardi, on the other hand, is now throwing caution to the wind to try and open up the gap. You can see starting to really get aggressive in the driving style to throw the car around to stay in for the fight, but it's not turning into an easy one. Yassine Ismail into pit lane. Navin, however, is going yet another lap further in this race, getting closer to the 45-minute mark, the halfway mark to get that pit stop done and dusted. We do, however, get reports that Jan Engelbrecht landing up in a bit of a problem. What happened to Jan Engelbrecht? In through the bottom end of the circuit. Oh, just has the rear snap out. Oh, big impact into the wall. That is front suspension taking a knock. Thankfully, there is parts in the pits to get sorted out, but from leading the race in the Pro-Am class, he loses out. Stephen Cakebread into pit lane. to get his car sorted out. He knows this is crucial. Yasin Ishmael, Jaco van der Lith, all into pit lane as well. Navin keeping the pressure to try and claw his way to victory. Second place, Werner Swart, followed by Noah Hendricks, Paul Gerber, Yaz Samai in the top 5 for the pros. It is still all cards to be played for the Pro-Ams as Joshua looking to try and close up the gap to Stephen Cakebread and Johan Engelbrecht, who landed up a little bit further down. 40 minutes have gone by and we are within a hair's distance of the halfway mark for the drivers to deal with this. Jaco van der Lith out in 9th position, continues on his fight up through the order as we do see Stephen Cakebread now leaving pit lane ahead of Jan Engelbrecht, getting a little bit of work done on his car. He's now got up and got going. Joshua Syme now takes 2nd place and continues on the charge. So Joshua Syme into 2nd place with Etienne Swart closed up on the back of him. This is going to be a big, tall order for both drivers as we do see Jaco van der Lith trying to get on by and seeing Salvatore Cardi right there in the mix. Salvatore Cardi late on the anchors, trying to throw caution to the wind, dives on for the inside. And gotta say, Salvatore Cardi's nose on that Ferrari does not look all too well. Yeah, there is a slight bend to it. He's got a bit of break in that front aero from the earlier contact, and that's definitely taking a bit of a hammering. Stephen Cakebread up on the inside of Etienne Swart, the Ultra Carbon McLaren, just straight lining the Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo as he tries to lumber his way around. Incredible car, but doesn't have the power down the straight like the McLaren does. Paul Gerber down into the pit lane after climbing 17 positions to get himself into the fight. Noah Hendricks up 15 positions from where he started. Werner Swart up 6 positions from where he started. There is still plenty of racing action to go on. Jaco van der Lith, unfortunately, getting a bit of damage to his car. Let's quickly take a look at what happened here as he landed up in a bit of a problem. Oh, big impact for the Ferrari, and also rear suspension damage can be felt as he tries to get the car going, and you can just see that right rear ready to snap off as the drivetrain not too happy. And that unfortunately is a tow back to pits for Jaco van der Lith. So down the order they go, needing some repair work, and that toe starting to be a bit more brutal. Yes, and Paul Gerber into pit lane, but take a look at Doe Gerber, goes after, but that is Stephen Cakebread's nose. Stephen Cakebread into the wall. Cakebread has lost his front end. Stephen Cakebread having an impact somewhere on the circuit and dives into the pits. What on earth happened to him that landed up damaging the car so badly? So he carried the momentum. Oh, he was just too much on the curb on the right. It smashed the nose of the car. Front suspension takes a hit. Oh my heavens. That is a blow and a half. An easy mistake. Taking the corner a little bit too tight. And that was him. Done, dusted, game over, and out of the top 3 and doing his pit stop. That is a brutal, brutal one. We were keeping an eye on Doe Gerber fighting it out, and we just saw the nose bouncing up and down in front. Paul Gerber dealing with Werner Skuman, who gets a pass done and dusted. Werner up into 8th position. Now looks to try and keep the pressure on. Salvatore Cardi is in 7th, just ahead of him. 6 seconds up the road, and will have to absolutely floor it the whole way through to be able to take his first ever iRacing GT3 Championship. Or is history going to be made here tonight for the drivers? Salvatore Cardi continues on the momentum, trying to figure out what is going to work out in his favor. Is this going to be enough, however, to fight for the championship? He is down the order as likes of Jaco van der Lith now coming out of pit lane, rejoining the race, will continue to try and figure out how can he get that little bit more up the road. Navin still leads out and is yet to come into the box. Werner Swart and Noah Hendricks running 2nd and 3rd are waiting for their opportune moment to make it work. Brandon Robert just hanging on the back of Navin at the moment, who is having an incredible run in that Audi R8 and been one of the very few Audi R8s we've seen racing in the GT3 series, and honestly doing a stellar job out there to try and hold that first place. But that being said, still needs to do the mandatory pit stop as he dives in at the 45-minute mark. Halfway mark, he's into the box and getting his pit stop done and dusted. This is going to be a wild one now because Werner and Noah need to do their final stop to get it done and dusted. Change all 4 tires, get back out on the track and get racing. Navin's dived into the pits. Is this going to be a react situation for both Werner Swart and Noah Hendricks? They are going to continue going on as Werner says, no thank you, I'm going to try and get first at the moment. And Noah Hendricks also keeping his foot firmly planted on the throttle. He wants to get on by Navin. Now will lose out first place, but that is for the moment as both Noah and Werner have not done their pit stops. They have to do the pit stops before the end of the race, otherwise they will suffer a penalty and will be tossed all the way down to the bottom of the pro field. Not an easy time out there, some hard work. Fight out for our first and second on the pro-am. Joshua Simon, Etienne Swart continue on the charge. Etienne Swart continues to look for the inside line. Does favor a tighter line in his McLaren. Tells me he's got a lot of aero work on that car to keep him stable through the second and third sector of this circuit, but not quite having the top end on Joshua Syme in the longest straight. So Joshua now defending the inside line, heading into the hard braking zone, takes the right-hander, runs out a little bit wide, tries to bring it back, and you can see Etienne Swart keeping a very consistent pace on the back of him, will constantly fight his way through. Joshua Syme not having an easy time out there, will look to defend yet again, not going and running away. As you can see, Etienne Swart takes a wider line, carries a lot of momentum out of the final corner into the toe. Now looks like Joshua is going to hold the middle of the circuit. Can he make it work in his favor as the two drag race down this incredibly long straight here at Road America? And Joshua only narrowly ahead of Etienne Swart under braking. He does, however, brake him very, very late. Does make the corner and defends the inside line. Etienne Swart says, forget this, goes to the curbs and goes to the grass to try and get the pass done. He is absolutely brawling to try and get a victory over Joshua here today. Nose to tail they go. Looks towards the inside line. Is it going to work out in his favor? Not quite this time. Switches back to try and figure out inside, outside. Not having an easy time there. Joshua center of the circuit yet again. These two brawling as they should for overall position and for class position. Oh, Etienne up on the inside. A very quick sneak in, and that was what an amazing move. As Joshua comes back at him on the inside, what a move from both drivers, being respectful, but at the same time, they're keeping each other very honest there. Oh, quick flash of lights, missed out the braking marker, and that unfortunately, Etienne Swart, taking his eye off the ball, went straight for the flash, and unfortunately cost himself 0.3 of a second in a flash in that drive. Now trying to make up a bit of momentum to Joshua. Yes, MI a little bit further back has got Brandon Roberts just ahead of him. Brandon Roberts lying third place between the Pro-Ams. Now dealing with Yaz MI to make it work. As we do see Etienne Swart back on the inside, up on the right-hander. Joshua falls off the circuit. Couldn't quite slow the car down enough to make it work out in his favor. Etienne Swart now gaps it, gone 2-3 seconds in one corner to try and break away. Brandon Roberts would have seen Joshua landing off into the dirt. Now looking to try and gain a bit of time here. He has got the pressure from Yaz Semai, a pro-class driver, on the back of him. Yaz now needs to try and think about what game is he going to play here. Is he going to utilize the toe of Brandon Robert, who has got the bit between his teeth, trying to make up that time to Joshua Syme? Or is he going to get involved in the fight? Is he going to pull himself in for it? It looks like he's a little bit too far back to contend with the Ferrari. Joshua trying to continue his drive up through the order. Field starting to break away, and it's all about momentum in this race. Who can push it a little bit further? Werner Skuman, unfortunately, out of the race. That is a big one, folks. Werner Skuman, our championship leader and championship contender, is out of the race. what on earth happened to Werner Skuman that dropped him out so badly? Werner Skuman out of the race and out of the championship. The Pandacity driver out of the running here at Raceface.Pro. Not a good run at all and costing him the championship. Wow, oh wow. That is an upset of a century, as we do see Joshua once again making critical mistakes. Brandon Robert closing up on him. And now with him fighting chance, Brandon Roberts will be keeping an eye on Joshua, not having an easy time out there. The rears will be full of marbles. The next 3 corners is always tough to try and get yourself sorted, and it's into the fastest parts of the circuit. As we do see Brandon Robert now closed up the gap. Look towards the inside, can't get it past, snatches on the outside. Can he go late on the brakes to try and curve across? He does sweep across the nose. Oh, Joshua carries a lot of momentum into the dirt, however. Defends right onto the apex. Joshua stuck behind. Couldn't get past. Brandon Robert up into second place. Joshua now into third. As they continue on right here at Road America. Oh, Brandon gets it off track. Loses a bit of time. And Joshua goes up on the inside. It's a drag race through. Yes, trying to just keep out of the battle, has now closed up on the lot of them. Looks to the inside of Brandon Roberts to try and get the pass done and dusted. He sees Joshua right there. He's going to have to try and clear 2 cars to make it work. He does clear Brandon Roberts, and now Joshua's next in the cards here. For Brandon Roberts, this is a nightmare situation as there's successfully a gap between the two of them. Brandon Robert not having an easy time out there. Continues to put the pressure on SMI, saying, come on, you got the pass on me, but you got to go, 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 as I'm losing our time here. Noah Hendricks gets ahead of Werner Swart, who pulls into pit lane. Noah Hendricks continues on his charge to complete yet another lap here at Road America, and is yet to do a stop during the course of this race. He's gonna have to get it done and dusted on the hour mark, but is he leaving it too late? As Navin now gets a position over Werner Swart as they come on by. Brandon Robert keeps the pressure on. Yes, no change for 11th, 12th, and 10th of Joshua Syme, who runs second of our Pro-Am field. And we are getting reports, unfortunately, that mechanical failure came into play for Werner Skuman. We're going to try and talk to the team and see if we can get him in for an interview just to give us some of his thoughts on the season. But a gut-wrenching blow, mechanical failure, taking him out of the championship running after an incredible season. Well, yes, am I up on the inside. Brandon Robert trying to go around the outside. Couldn't make it stick, however, and we'll have to wait yet again. But we'll try and see if we can get some comms in to have a chat to the likes of Werner Skuman after such an incredible fight. Oh, man, it's a gut-wrenching blow to see him out of the race, but that's how it works. Oh, big mistake coming for Yasemai into the wall and out of the running. Yasemai going into the wall and landed up, smashed out on the side. Let's quickly take a look what happened. Just had the rear step out and unfortunately straight into the unforgiving tire wall. Smashes the entire front end and suspension of the car as he gets into pit lane. Pushed a little too hard, got onto the marbles, and that's all she wrote, unfortunately, for Yasemai in the fight. Oh, man, that's gut-wrenching to see as we now seeing the stamina and seeing what happens to machinery as it all carries on. Navin will be taking first place at the moment. You can see really pushing the car a little bit harder now. Sliding out on the dirt there, trying to get himself sorted. Yes, am I having to get some work done on his car, but he's also got the black flag. That means he has also got to serve a drive-through penalty at the end of it as well. Picked up enough incident points that not only he's got mechanical damage, but also has to do a drive-through for the amount of incidents racked up during the course of the race. And that is just by off tracks, dropping a wheel on the dirt, having the contacts. That contact is 4, slides are 2, and that impact doing it. And we're getting reports here, SMI saying the car is out. Well, no, Yes, I don't think it's out as yet, bud. I don't think it's out as yet. I know the team have got quite a variety of spares out there, buddy. I know that it hasn't worked out in your favor. I know you're not where you want to be, but damn it, you've gotten this far. It's an hour and 20 minutes. You saw the green. You gotta see the checkered. Just get yourself back out there. It might not be the race that you wanted, but it's the final race of the season. It's the longest race of the season. You got 55 minutes into an hour and 20-minute race, and you're going to throw in the towel now. No, no, no. South Africa has lost enough this weekend, and now we want to see you guys go and see it through to the end. Even Werner Skuman needs to get back out on the track. Wardrobe, get out on the track as well, because this is the final race of the season. You saw the green. You got to see the checkered, because the only person that is allowed to sit back and see all this unfold is me in the commentary box. We have got all the supporters out there on the virtual grandstands cheering you all on, wanting every single one of you to cross that line. And I can speak on behalf of Nicola, on Tito, on Lawrence Hulk, on the likes of 5-7 Sim Racing, on the words of ZA Badger. Everyone wants to see those drivers get across the line. So I'm calling all of you out. Yaz, Werner, Wardrobe, get yourselves back in the car, get in, get yourselves going, and finish what you started. Do not hide. Do not run. You do not give up. As you fought it out all season, you deserve to see it at the end. Noah Hendricks and Willem Buerta, they are fighting out tooth and nail at this point. They are doing everything they can to fight out for 5th and 4th position. Noah Hendricks off circuit. Willem Buerta gets a pass as they carry on the drive. Up on the inside, Buerta now into 4th. Noah Hendricks up 13th positions. And this is still a chase of note. But once again, Yaz, Werner, Wardrobe, there is no reason for you guys to sit out of this race. You've got all the repairs. You've got the best teams. You've got the cars. You got the circuit. And you've got the will. You went and waited for this race. You had to wait an extra week of nothing to go in for this race. You had to go and wait for the opportunity to score points. Do not let this be your non-finisher. Let this be a finish. Finish on a high. Do not fall out of the championship just because it all went wrong. No, you go and get this right. Because at the end of the day, it all racks up. To finish this race, to finish the season of this incredible Raceface.Pro, I mean, this is going to be it. Wheel keeps getting disconnected. That is... I understand, Werner. Oh, man. Try a full restart. PC off, PC on. Plug it in. I mean, that's the only thing I can say in terms of the IT world. On and off, and let it go. See what happens. Just to try and see it through to the end, because in a couple of moments' time, we're having history made here in Raceface.Pro. We have had history made for iRacing. Yet another season to be completed. Brandon Robert getting all out of shape out there on the circuit. But I do want to see the drivers to see it through to the end. Because 21 drivers started this race. And I want to see 21 drivers cross that finish line. 21 drivers to make it work through everything. And it all comes down to this moment, where you look back on our racing and go, I was there, and I saw the flag. So, Yaz, Werner, make a plan. Wardrobe, make a plan. Time to get you guys back out on the track there to see it through to the end. Back to the racing at hand. Willem Buerta keeping ahead of Noah Hendricks, one of our close battles out on circuit, along with Stephen Cakebread fighting out for class position, as we do see the likes of Robbie Teens just a little bit ahead. Robbie Teens keeping up the momentum, late on the brakes, trying to do everything he can, and you can see Stephen Cakebread closing up on that Mercedes trying to slow the car down just a little bit more right at the end, just trying to bleed off the brakes a little bit earlier and stand on the power to try and close up the gap. Stephen Cakebread not having the easy time out there. Robbie Teens holding his position and will be continuing on the charge. Now it's nose to tail. This is where the slipstream is going to help out for Stephen Cakebread and Robbie Teens, carrying the momentum up down the main straight. They go, putting on the power. Cakebread trying to utilize all the powers out of that V8 to chase down the turbocharged V6 296 Ferrari, and will be focusing on trying to close up the gap under braking and straight line horsepower, but it's not working out in the favor as Robbie Teens has a little bit through the corners. He's able to get onto the power a little bit earlier to continue on the drive. So still time out there for everyone to put the hammer down to continue on the race. Still drivers looking to figure out that next step and what they need to do. Stephen Cakebread looks towards the inside line, late on the brakes, not going to be close enough to make the pass work on the likes of Robbie Teens. Robbie runs out a little bit wide there, puts a wheel off on the dirt, loses a little bit of drive, and you can see Stephen Cakebread now throwing the Mercedes in through the corners, trying to figure out how can he get that little bit more momentum, trying to put the power on just a little bit more, much like Noah Hendricks, keeping the pressure on Willem Buerter, the IDSA esports driver, dealing with Noah Hendricks right on the back of him, focusing on the charge to get into the fight. It is a brawl for class position for Robbie Teens and Stephen Cakebread on 6th and 7th, but Noah Hendricks and Willem Buerter for 5th and 4th position. And these two just continue on the drive. Stephen Cakebread looks to the inside, backs out of it, looks towards the outside, couldn't figure out a pass to work out in his favor. He's going to try yet again for the inside line, late on the brakes, a little bit of a fishtail. Robbie Teens, however, says thank you very much. He gets the drive on the way through and continues to get that little bit of spacing to help him out. But now the main straight's going to be an issue as he will not have enough of a buffer for the Mercedes to not have full utilization of that slipstream. And there it comes into effect. Robbie Teens immediately guards the inside line, forces Stephen Cakebread to the outside. Stephen now needs to hope that he can carry enough power down the main straight, brake later than the Ferrari to make the pass work in his favor. Robbie Teens, however, a little bit deeper in the braking zone. Side by side they go. Beautifully done between the two. It is a tango for two, and it looks like the Mercedes just sweeps across the nose of Robbie Teens. Can he keep the power working in his favor? He does so, and now gets that pass done and dusted. Willem Buerter dealing with Noah Hendricks as they continue on the charge. Noah hoping to figure out a bit more momentum here on Willem Buerter as they fight it out for position. Willem Buerter once again very wide on the exit, dropping a wheel off circuit, costing him a bit of time, and will be trying to figure out what is the game plan here. How far are you willing to go? How far are you going to push towards the end? Well, Willem Buerter loses out the drive. Noah Hendricks tried around the outside. Didn't work out in his favor. Hendricks had to back off a little bit earlier there as he was carrying way too much momentum into turn 1 and lost out the drive to Willem Buerter, positioning his car in just the right place to hold on for the fight. Etienne Swart now into pit lane, once again getting himself into pit lane. Didn't he in pit lane a bit earlier? Yes, he was. This would be his second stop. So Etienne Swart running into a crucial problem that is now put him back into pit lane. Joshua Syme will take over first place. Brandon Robbins will take over second. Etienne Swart down in third, going through pit lane. Rather strange to see the driver landing up in pit lane yet again, being his second stop of the race, while we keep an eye on some of the epic battles going on between Noah Hendricks and Willem Buerter. Robbie Teens and Stephen Cakebread continue on. They will see that Etienne Swart still in pit lane, and maybe a big loss for Etienne Swart at this point, because here comes the two as Stephen Cakebread and Teens carry the drive right the way through, and unfortunately that is gonna oh no, never mind. Etienne Swart was able to just get out ahead of them. He's out into 5th position, that top 5 in the Pro-Ams, and just ahead of the fighting duo, but very, very close between them. As we see, Noah Hendricks keeps the pressure onto Willem Buerter trying to figure out where he can go. The asymmetric driver not backing down out of the fight. Willem Buerta going to be fighting his way through to keep it all together. And Buerta keeps a solid defense of Noah Hendricks at the moment to carry on a bit further. 15 minutes left to go in this race, the final race of the championship, and it's Navin that leads out in the pro field, followed by Jacques Ever, Werner Swart, Willem Buerta, and Noah Hendricks fight it out for 4th and 5th. A little bit further down, our pro-am field, Joshua Syme, Brandon Robert, Johan Engelbrecht, Doug Huber, and Etienne Swart round out the top 5 as they continue on the effort, trying to go a little bit more in for the fight. You can see Noah Hendricks is getting a little bit feisty behind Willem Buerta. He's looking left, he's looking right. He's trying to figure out where can he get this pass done and dusted. Willem Buerta, however, is saying, not going to happen, buddy. You're going to have to think a little bit more on where you want that pass to work out, where you want it to close up. You can see immediately looks towards the inside. Noah Hendricks backs off a little bit earlier. Closes up the gap. Ooh, taking a little bit too much curve there. Bounces the car around. Picks up a bit of dirt on the left-hand side as he's trying to just open the corners up a little bit earlier to stand on the power. Not having the easy time to catch up to the RDSA esports driver just ahead of him. So some tough racing all the way through the gears, trying to figure out what is going to be the opportune moment to make it work as we see Robbie Teens into the pits. Robbie Teens with enough incident points to serve a drive-through penalty, and that is unfortunately going to take him out of the fight with Stephen Catebread. That is a blow for Robbie Teens, who unfortunately now needs to serve that drive-through and will have to get himself sorted out, as we do see Robbie Teens coming to a stop in pit lane up on the jacks and will be now caught out. Not ideal circumstances. I'm wondering if he actually came into pit lane a little bit too hot there, and that took him out on the running. I'm leaning on to that he took a little bit too much of top end into pit lane, and that cost him some time. Noah Hendricks, Willem Buerta continue on the drive, trying to figure out what they can do, and the clouds have lifted here at Road America, as we do see Robbie Teens coming out in front of the, well, just behind the fighting duo, Noah Hendricks and Willem Buerta. It would have been very interesting if he just got ahead of these two, but he decided, lift off the gas, let them go, don't worry about it, not my race. But he does, however, come in front of Salvatore Cardi and the likes of Yasin Ismail, who are constantly trying to close up the gap. Yasin in 6th place, Salvatore Cardi down in 7th. The leader of the championship trying to figure out what can he do, as we do keep an eye on Willem Buerta and Noah Hendricks. Noah Hendricks up on the inside, late on the brakes. The Ferrari trying to make it work. Can he carry the momentum to work out in his favor? Drops a wheel in the dirt. Buerta keeps the pressure on. Looks up towards the inside line. Not going to go for it this time. Going to keep the pressure on. Continue on the drive as they fight it out yet again out on the circuit. Noah Hendricks not having an easy time. And immediately you can see Willem Buerta hangs on the back, waiting for the opportunity to work out in his favor, waiting for Noah Hendricks to make a crucial mistake in this race. It's all about the drive. It's all about the momentum and how far they're willing to go. Where are you going to push the limits on this race? How far will you battle to hold the top spot here at Raceface.Pro for the final round of the championship? And it is all or nothing. Put all your cards on the line. It's a bit of twisted metal that gets out on the circuit, but you've got to try. Dig deep, push hard, and make it work, as we see Willem Buerta really dropping 2 wheels up in the air after clipping the curb. He's trying to figure out how can he get a little bit more pace to Noah Hendricks. Werner Swart slightly up the road from both of them, is not out of harm's way. He is 6 seconds out of that fighting duo, and it has a possibility of losing those 6 seconds even quicker now that Noah Hendricks and Willem Buerta are not arguing with one another and putting in some good solid times to fight out behind him. So it's still all or nothing going on as Joshua Syme, Brandon Roberts, of first and second in the Pro-Am. Jan Engelbrecht sits in third place. Do Gerber down in fourth, along with Etienne Swart. Stephen Cakebread in sixth place, along with Duncan Roderick in seventh. Robbie Teens lies in eighth and ninth place. Still going on, doing everything he can. Willem Pienaar, who was at the back of the field after a spin, is now up to 18th, getting ahead of Yasamai, Werner Skuman, and Wadro. A little bit up through the order, and now looking to try to close up to Robbie Teens up ahead. So still lots of drives going on. Navin leads out the pros, 29 seconds away. Jacques Ever trying to close the gap, just not having the legs to work out. Werner Swart in third place, as there is literally 9 minutes now left of the race for this 1 hour and 20 minute finale of the Raceface.Pro iRacing GT3 Championship. Navin keeping a consistent 2:04 low to try and keep it going, and his best lap time was a 2:03.3, along with Jacques Evans 2:03.2, and Werner Swart came in with a 2:04.3. So it really does show the guys are trying to fight that a little bit harder, but Navin keeping a consistent pace over Jacques Ever. He's able to work with a better average lap time over the duration versus the likes of Jacques Ever. So that little bit of momentum is working out in his favor, and he's able to push himself just a little harder to move himself that little bit more up in the order. And this is all where it starts getting a bit of an opening. It starts to work out of who's where, what's happening, and what are we willing to do in this race. I mean, this is always a very, very tough time for the drivers to work out the big plans. What is going to be the idea come the end of the race? It's all or nothing for the championship, and you can't leave it all to chance. You're going to have to dig deep. You're going to have to figure out what is the best plan here. The drivers needing to figure out what is the big strategy that's being done. I mean, this is all coming to blows now. This is all coming to show in this incredible race, and who's going to be able to figure out that little bit further, that little bit more of a climb to stay in for the fight. Who's going to be able to keep the pressure on towards the end as the gaps start to open between all the drivers. So plenty of action happening out there. Unfortunately, we do have some of the retirements in the race, one of them being likes of Wadro, who waits in pit lane. Willem Buerta losing out the drive to Noah Hendricks as they continue to move through the order. It is a fight for the drivers. As everyone pushes that a little bit more, trying to figure out what they can do. Etienne Swart closes up to Do Gerber, one of our closest fights on circuit, 5th and 4th. Do Gerber managing to keep a little bit of pace in that Chev away from Etienne Swart at the moment. But it's still a long game being played here between the two of them as they continue on the drive, trying to figure out what is the big game plan here. How far are they willing to go? How much are they willing to push that little bit more to score the victory here at Road America? And to stay in for the fight is the main goal of the championship. Do Gerber losing out the drop on the right-hander, and Etienne Swart carrying a lot of momentum, goes up on the inside. Is he going to make it work? It does so beautifully, side by side, off the right-hand sweep. Beautifully done, and sometimes can be a big, big impact. So the drivers have to be well enough aware of how hard they are willing to push at this point to go that little bit further. So drivers seeing where exactly it's all going to play out in hand. Etienne Swart, Do Gerber now starting to open up between the two of them. Swart just having a little bit more legs to stay in the front end of Etienne. Well, seeing if Etienne Swart can stay ahead of Do Gerber as they continue on the charge. We are getting reports, however, that Willem Pinot, a little bit of a touch of the dirt as you see Stephen Cakebread come on through. Two of them just allowing a bit of space between one another. So Herbert keeps on the back of Etienne Swart, who clips the grass. Not a happy camper there. Loses out that little bit of momentum. We'll have to try and figure out what he can do to push a little bit more up the road. So it's Nevin, Jacques, and Werner that lead out our pros. Joshua, Brandon, and Jan Engelbrecht lead out our Pro-Am field as we get closer to the end of the race. Drivers now just counting down the time. You suddenly switch from looking at minutes, you start thinking about seconds of how long till the checkered flag comes on. Brandon Roberts is starting to gain a little bit onto Joshua. Is Joshua starting to fuel save a little bit to try and keep the car going? Has he undercut on fuel? And unfortunately, now starting to play into effect here. So this is now going to twist and turn the championship as Joshua and Brandon Robert continue to fight it out. So Pro-Am Velocity up against Joshua in that racing sales, hoping to continue on the drive. Well, that's snail's pace, apologies. Snail's pace, Joshua side. As they focus on the charge. So it's still all or nothing for our front runners to push that little bit more, to get that little bit more momentum on the way through. And we'll have to figure out what is the game plan for our drivers to carry the momentum through to the end. Navin, who is the leader of our race, will be looking with a 205.001, the slowest he's been all race long. We look towards the battle in the Pro-Am as Brandon Robert runs up very, very wide, and so does Joshua, both pushing it a little bit harder and starting to feel the pressure. Duncan Roderick has closed up to the likes of Jaco van der Lith. The two of them are starting to keep pressure. Now, Jaco van der Lith has had a few issues during the course of this race, had some damage to the front end of his car. Now will be trying to push himself that little bit further up the road. So it's still very, very close game between the drivers to fight their way for victory. And just ahead of them is Stephen Cakebread. But you can see that there is Noah Hendricks starting to close up on the back of him. And that's Willem Buerta of the RDSA Esports also hanging in the mix, waiting for his opportunity to close up. May it be a change for position possibility coming into play? Well, possibility comes in for the Pro-Am as Joshua missed the corner. Brandon Robert gets the pass and leapfrogs ahead with only 2 minutes to go in this race. Joshua may have just thrown away first place here at Road America. This has just turned it all over to his head and he can't get the carb right. The wheels are still covered in dirt, in grime, in marbles, and is not getting the grip. Joshua, who was slowing up during the course of the race, has lost our first place, and with a minute to go, it's all or nothing for our drivers, as we do see Navin trying to make his way past the 69 car of, that would be Paul Herber. Continuing on the drive, focusing where he needs to go. This has gone into a wild race. White flag shown. It is a last lap push for our drivers. Sorry, there's Doherber in the 69 car. But this is a last lap push for the drivers. Brandon Robert leads out Pro-Am. Joshua lies in second place, nearly 4 seconds back. And Kathleen Jensen busy going and shouting, "Go Brandon, go!" from the sidelines. Going and cheering on the Proton Velocity driver who has waited for their opportunity to make it work out in his favor. But this has turned into a race on the attrition for all our competitors. Drivers are split, but a crucial mistake, like we saw, can flip the entire race on its head. Navid, on his debut race, the final race of the season in the Audi R8, has come. He's dominated. He's fought it out. Pitted on the 45-minute mark. That is halfway and just continues to get the climb. Circling around to take the victory here at Road America. And going all the way out from the UK, will be smiling ear to ear on this run. And what a stellar drive has come into play for our competitors. But I know one competitor who's going to be smiling ear to ear on this one, circulating a little bit more. He's nearly at the end. Navin has fought against the odds. He has come, he's arrived, he's taken the victory, and that is how you knock it out of the ballpark. Ladies and gentlemen, taking the final checkered flag of the season, it goes to Navin McGeer, out from the UK, has broken the run of Salvatore Cardi and the South Africans as he comes across the line in his Audi R8. Second place will go to Jacques Ever, and third will go to Werner Swart. Noah Hendricks continues out his drive. Doe Gerber, Stephen Cakebread come across the line, lying 5th and 6th. Vernon Pinot comes across in 9th place. Absolutely stellar stuff. And we still got Paul Gerber on the back of Salvatore Cardi. Salvatore just trying to keep it all together, but he may lose out 7th position because here's Paul Gerber. He's going to try drag race him through. This may hurt Salvatore Cardi's points again during the course of this championship, but Paul Gerber has fought it out, climbed 13 positions, and got on to the back of Salvatore Cardi as they come across the line. What a run, as it's going to be a change, but Salvatore Cardi would have locked in the championship win. Coming up to the line, what a run on his part. Brandon Roberts waited for the opportunity to keep going. He has fought his way through as we do see Robbie Teens getting on by. Well done, Robbie. Well done. And well done to Willem Pinot. Both going and see the checkered flag. Oh, man, that's awesome. They fought it through to the end. Love to see it. Brandon Roberts on the Proton Velocity team comes across the line. First place of the Pro-Am for the Road America. Round 6, the finale of the championship. Joshua comes across in 2nd place and will secure the championship in the Pro-Ams. Well done to Joshua Syme. And Johan Engelbrecht will finish up in 3rd place. He's fought it through. He chased on. And Joshua got him at the end. But it's Johan in 3rd place. A stellar effort with Etienne Swart. The Altered Carbon Racing McLaren will battle his way through and come across the line in 4th position. Done. Dusted. Game over. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages around the globe, we have seen the final checkered flag of the season. We have our winners, and in due course, we will have our championship leaders and our championship winners by the end of the season. And this is what we are super excited to see. And what a race has been had by all our competitors. Wow, oh wow. A stellar run. And what a show from all our competitors. Brandon Roberts with no back on his car. He's just trying to get the car through. He had a smile on his face after that win. And now just trying to limp the car back home after it. I mean, this is just stellar stuff. So, that being said, and great championship. Lots of highs and lows, lots of ebbs and flows, lots of words, lots of racing, lots of side-by-side moments, and still came down to the wire. I mean, this has been a championship that no one will forget here at Raceface.Pro. And man, oh man, that's take a look at some of the results that happened here in the race. For the Pro-Ams, it was Brandon Robert to take the win, 6 seconds ahead of Joshua Syme, and Jan Engelbrecht will finish up in 3rd place. Etienne Swart finishes up in 4th, followed by Doug Herber, Stephen Cakebread, Duncan Roderick, Robbie Deans, and Willem Pienaar rounds out the pack for our Pro-Ams. And for our Pros, it is the likes of Navin McGeer on his debut here at Raceface.Pro. Takes the win by 30 seconds away from Jacques Ever, Werner Swine, Noah Hendricks, Willem Buerta, Yassine Ishmael, Salvatore Cardi, Paul Gerber, Jakob van Lith, Yaz Semai, Werner Skuman, and Eduardo unable to finish the race at the end of it. That was an incredible charge by all our competitors, and I know there will be a bit of work being done frantically behind the scenes to get those final points of who finished where here at Raceface.Pro for the final race of the season. We're getting the drivers coming through to come and have a bit of a chat with us in commentary, and we will have the likes of Navin, Jacques Ever, Werner Swart to come to the commentary box in the Discord, along with Brandon Robert, Joshua Syme, and Jan Engelbrecht to round out the pack here at Raceface.Pro. So as we get a little bit of note out to all our drivers on this incredible, incredible race, as we look back at such a phenomenal race where it was up and down through the entirety of the field. I mean, this was just a season of note for all the competitors who find that little bit more, push their way up through the order and stay in for the fight. But take a look. We do have our Pro-Ams who have arrived. We've got 2 of our Pro-Ams that we're going to have a chat to. One of them going to be Joshua Syme, taking the Raceface.Pro Pro-Am Championship after a stellar run on his part. Let's bring in Joshua to come and have a chat to us. 2nd place. Joshua, welcome to the commentary box. 2nd place in the race, but officially the Pro-Am champion. How are you feeling after a season of ups and downs, and what on earth happened at the end?
Feeling brilliant, great, delighted. Right at the end, the last couple of laps, my tyres went off a cliff, it felt like, and Brandon's pressure just got to me, and then missed my braking marker, went too deep into the corner, and then he went, and Brandon was really quick, so I think he was going to catch me at some point, but it was just so, I was like concentrating on him right behind me, knowing that if I made a mistake, he would get right by it, and then I went and made that mistake.
Well, it was a stellar run on your part, but how was the pressure coming into the final round of the championship? I mean, this was all or nothing for you to try and get it done and dusted, and having to fight it out towards the top end of the field. I mean, you've had the target on your back for most of the season.
Yeah, so basically going into this race, I was absolutely bricking it, because I knew that if things went badly, I could lose the championship, and it was the first race really that I had a proper, I say proper, but like a race engineer, where I would come back and ask like who's ahead and how would the championship look if it finished right now, sort of thing. So thankfully my wife stepped up in the last 2 minutes before the race when I was obviously quite nervous, and asked her if she could keep an eye on things and see what's what, basically.
So they say there's always a great woman behind a driver, and that's pretty much become the fact. I mean, Joshua, the season done and dusted. I'm sure a weight off the shoulders, but how does it feel to make a bit of history here, being a UK citizen and racing in a South African championship, taking the win in the Pro-Am division? This is a first for Raceface.Pro iRacing for a UK and Scotland to come in and take the win. I'm sure is just quite a feat.
Oh yeah, I don't really know how to put it into words. It's been a fantastic season, off the back of probably not a great season before, in the Pro-Am Championship, so I just felt really comfortable in the car most races this season, apart from the previous race and Imola were the only 2 races that I felt uncomfortable in the car. And you know, racing all these guys is great. They're all really.
I think we just lost Joshua after all that. Josh, if you can hear me, well, we want to just see if we can get you to say a couple of words at the end. If you want to thank anyone or thank any of the sponsors, drivers, teams out there, the floor is yours. So let's see if we can get Joshua back on the line. I think we just lost him, unfortunately. Well, for Joshua Sart, congratulations. 2nd place in the race and 1st overall in the championship, taking the Pro-Am division for Season 4 here in the iRacing GT3 Championship. Wow, oh wow. That was a stellar effort. Let's bring in 1st place of the Pro-Am this race, and also who fought it out for the championship, and I would say possibly clinched on to 3rd in the championship. Let's bring in Brandon Robert. Brandon Robert, welcome to the commentary box. What a race out there, and it came down to the wire. And I'd like to officially congratulate you for taking 3rd in the championship on 311 points, beating out Jan Engelbrecht on 307. How are you feeling after that bit of news?
Absolutely shaken. Yeah, I've been shaking since the final 20 minutes of the race. When I started catching up to Joshua, I was like, there's no way this is going to happen. There's just absolutely no way. He's quicker than me. He's always quicker than me. He usually keeps more consistency. So I'm like, there's no ways I can actually catch him. And the moment I started seeing the mistakes come, I'm like, keep the pressure. Just don't crack under the pressure like I almost did a couple of times there. Oh, my soul. I was at least praying that I would try and snatch back that 3rd place in the championship. I didn't actually think it would happen the moment I spun out in the early stages of the race.
Well, the moment of mistake of getting a 1st place, that was the 3rd in the championship. I mean, this has been a high and low championship. You've been up and down through it all. I mean, round 1 was terrible. You finished up in 14th, but you kept persevering in round 2. You got 2nd place. Round 3 and 4th. Round 4, you got 7th. Round 5, you got 6th. And just to get a win in the longest race in the championship, what's going through your mind?
Well, the main thing that's going through my mind is that I can't believe it actually freaking happened. The early races, there was so many times where I was up there and just one mistake takes me out of it completely, and then everything just starts accumulating after there. I mean, the last race, I think I somehow managed to get into the position where I was about to lead, and just coming out of the pits, I don't know what happened. The tires just decided it's going to sweep underneath me, and that just went. But after this race, I was thinking in my head, I'm good in long distance races. I'm decent with endurance. I do endurance a lot. I have to at least have some shot of trying to win this. And as I started catching up to Joshua in the beginning, I was like, this is it. I have to just keep the pace, keep consistency, just try to stay on him. And then the spin happened. I'm like, this is it. My race is over. There's no ways. Everyone was going past me. Everyone was like 15, 20, 30 seconds ahead. I was like, there's no ways I can catch him. Now I just put my head down, just kept driving. That's all I did. Well, I didn't think it would actually bring the win.
Well, that was the make or break moment. Anything you'd like to say to all the sponsors out there, to everyone in the virtual grandstands, the drivers, the teams, all the supporters that have been cheering on the whole season long? It has been a chaotic season for you and the Velocity Proton team. So anything you'd like to say? Brandon Robert, 3rd place in the championship for the Pro-Am and taking the final checkered flag across the win. Floor's yours.
Definitely want to say thanks a lot to the sponsors for sticking through us through all the highs and lows as well. I know we've had a lot of crazy moments on track, but it's all for you guys. It's all for the entertainment. I want to also say big thanks and shout out to my mother and my grandmother that have been watching me throughout all the races as well as to Caitlin Janssen, my team manager of Proton Velocity. She's the one that's kept me going this whole time. She's the one that's been assisting me with setups and getting the cars ready for the races. So this is to the team. I finally brought it home. Next time it's to take the championship.
There we go. Absolutely incredible stuff. And we're looking forward to seeing Caitlin coming back onto the track at some point. But well done, Brandon. Third place. You earned it, buddy.
Thanks a lot, Stephen.
Now, Brandon Robert grabbing third place right at the end. The first place took the victory. And how's that to go and call the championship close? Finishing out of our program, we don't have Etienne Swart. A massive well done to Etienne Swart, taking second place in the championship and finishing up fourth out on the track for the Altered Carbon team. Well done to Etienne Swart. So quick shout out to him on a stellar race indeed. And what a great time out there. Now, we do have a couple of people that are missing. One of them actually coming in as Navin, unfortunately for the pros. Not here to say a few words, but a massive congratulations. Navin taking the overall win in the pros. And that being said, we're just going to bring Joshua Simon for quick words to have his say for taking the stage. Joshua, you back? Joshua?
Hello, can you hear me again?
Yes, now we can hear you. Well, before we let you go, taking first in the championship, I'm going to be smiling ear to ear on this one. Anything you would like to say to all the teams, drivers, to the sponsors out there, and most importantly, the absolute amazing petrol heads that have followed throughout the entire championship?
Yeah, thank you to everyone that's been supporting me and all the sponsors that have been supporting the league and all the drivers. It wouldn't be possible without everyone coming together to do all this. It's really a fantastic league and couldn't recommend it enough to anyone else. And yeah, just big thanks to you as well, Stephen, for your hard work on the streams. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Well, absolutely well done, Joshua, taking home the gold and our first UK citizen to go and break the South Africans. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Joshua taking the Pro-Am Championship away from the South Africans. That being said, we're going to bring in our second place driver. Unfortunately, we don't have Navin to come and have a chat to us, but we do have our second place driver, Jacques Ever, to come and have a chat. Jacques Ever, welcome to the commentary box. And what a race indeed it was. Second place overall. How are you feeling?
Very excited, Stephen. It's been a long time coming that I needed to step on the podium. And I think I put the right foot in front of me the whole night tonight. I think I could have battled a little bit closer to P1, but I think I just made a little bit of overfueling in the pit stop, but that's all good. Still happy with my second tonight.
Well, gaining fourth in the championship, 264 points behind Werner Swart on 272. You had a bit of a up and down season. Round 2 not being the best, round 4 not being the best, but managing to pull our second place here at Road America. What just changed in the headspace to push that little bit more and take the SBR Mustang to the sharp end of the field? I'm sure it wasn't the new livery that's been sported on.
Oh, well, I think it's been all the practice and just changing the mindset a little bit. Like you saw tonight, I qualified a little bit better. Most of the races, my qualifying wasn't up to standard, so I practiced a lot of the qualifying to be more up in the grid. The race pace has always been there, but I think with this result going into the next season, I'm quite focused and excited to see where I can come. We'll challenge the top 3 places next season.
Well, it was an absolute brawl of nights, and congratulations once again. Anything you would like to say to all the teams, all the drivers out there, and most importantly, to the sponsors, and even more important than that, all the amazing petrol heads that follow us race after race after race, coming and enjoying being part of the heart and soul here of Raceface.Pro.
Okay, from Rhino Utility and SBR from our side, I say very thanks for an awesome season. I think the commitment was great. I think all the driving standards were up to standard, better than up to standard. And I think for next season, we're bringing in a few new things. So it's going to be a little bit exciting as well. Thanks to Simulator K, Virtual Motorheads for also standing by us, and also for each involved that got involved. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sending out the top 3 trophies for Pro and Pro-Am. I think all the guys will enjoy it a lot.
Well, you're going to have to send far, because first place of the Pro-Am goes all the way out to the UK, and first place of the Pro goes all the way out to Italy. How's that? No South African took the win.
That's awesome, dude. What can we say? The fastest guys needed to come and show us what is fast.
Well, absolutely great stuff. Jacques Ever, congratulations. One again, taking 4th place in the championship and 2nd place here in the final race around Road America.
Thanks a lot, Steve, man. I appreciate it. And thanks a lot to all your hard work and the comms. Everybody enjoyed it. And thanks for everything that you put in. Thanks, dude.
Well, Jacques Ever going and having his say. And what a stellar part. One more person to bring in to come and have a chat to us is one that's been a driver and then behind the scenes. Cameron de Bastos, welcome to the commentary box. Man, oh man, what a season it has been here in the iRacing GT3 Championship. And now it's all over. We've seen head to toe, nose to tail, fight to fight. It has been a wild one. And being the final race, the longest race of the season. And also, we got to give a congratulations for Pro. Salvatore Cardi, all the way from Italy, takes the Pro win ahead of Werner Schumann, who finished up on 301 points. Salvatore Cardi on 314 points. And Werner Swart rounding out the top 3 of our pros. I mean, that's just incredible stuff. And if we look at our Pro-Ams, it's Joshua Simon that takes first place of our Pro-Ams. Etienne Swart follows up in 2nd. Brandon Robert takes 3rd. This is actually a big one, because it's the first time in Raceface history that first place goes out to Italy and to UK. It's non-South African, and first time in Raceface history that we've got a family member lockout in Pro and Pro-Am. Werner and Etienne Swart taking home trophies.
Yeah, no, good evening, Stephen, and good evening, Brian Grandstand. Yeah, it's definitely been one amazing season this year. Well, this season so far. It's proved some very close racing. Unfortunately, I had to sit on the sidelines, but I kept an eye on it. And I must say, for our Pro-Am battle, it was quite a race down to the very, very end, with only 10 points separating 2nd and 3rd, and then a mere 4 points separating 3rd and 4th. So it's definitely been one. And then to remember, as looking over our pros, also been quite a very, very close one. So first of all, congratulations to our inaugural Italian winner, Salvatore Cardi there. I know I'm not going to hear the end of it from my brother-in-law on that side, but congratulations to him and his team, as well as both, as you mentioned, the Swart brothers, they Werner and Etienne there on their podiums. It's not likely that we see family members ending on the podium, even though they're 2 different classes. They still perform very, very well. And everyone I've spoken to has mentioned that the racing this season has been quite entertaining. Some very close battles, and yeah, they enjoyed the bit of the weather that they experienced out there tonight.
Well, absolutely great stuff. That being said, there's still much to come, and I think we can let people know as well that there is going to be a fun off-season worth of racing. So if you enjoyed the racing out now, we do have an off-season set of races, variety of different cars, different ideas coming into play as well. And we do invite everyone to come and join us for some fun season of racing before we kick it off back with our normal season of racing. Any hints of what possibly may be in store for a bit of week 13 carried over a couple of weeks?
Yeah, so we, the drivers in our, have been briefed a little bit on what the idea is behind what we want to do as the admin team behind this, behind the iRacing leagues. It's going to be, as you mentioned, a bit of week 13. It's not just going to be a single car or car class that's going to be running. It's going to be a bit of a mix. And with the past weekend that we, us as iRacers, experienced the Portimao 1000 in the phenomenal GT1 class, I do think that it is a bit of a good send-off with regards to that legend of a car. It's an absolute beauty of a car. So I do believe that the first race will be in the GT1 car. Remember, if you do want to participate, it is not mandatory. It's just a bit of a fun one. No championship really to be won there. Just also a bit of testing some stuff, but also giving some love to our open wheeler classes in forms of Formula Vs and the Formula 1600s, and then maybe also a bit of messing around with some of our new tech in the form of the GTPs. It's something that we will notify our drivers closer to the time, but if you want to feel part of it and go join us on that part and just help us test out some new systems, get a feel of what you as the drivers and even as the audience would like to see or even participate, feel free to reach out on our Discord channel, and then also reach out to myself or even Jacques Eva, and we will definitely make some plans. And everybody's suggestion is welcome. It's all about community in Raceface, and we really want to make it fun for everybody there. So again, off season, if you don't have the car, don't go and buy it if you don't want to. You can always just join any of our free tracks or even the free cars that we are running. But the more the merrier. It's always fun to get some good feedback from everybody.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has been an incredible season, but it is the end of the show, and it has been a crazy one. Make sure you join up. Tomorrow night, we have got round 2 of our LMU racing, and also on Thursday, we have got round 2 of our ACC GT3 League that is out racing. If you want to join in with all the action, head over to SimGrid, look up Raceface.Pro. It's also down in the description as well. Massive thank you to all our sponsors: Rhino Utility, SBR, Simulator Caves, Virtual Motorheads, and EG Evolved Simulator Rigs coming in and joining with us this entire season. It's been a great one. It's been an exciting one. Massive shout out to all our stewards, all the admin working behind the scenes, all to the drivers, the teams that have been cheering out and having a bit of fun. But most importantly, all you out there in the virtual grandstands cheering on the heart and soul of Raceface.Pro. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for the final time for Season 4 of the iRacing GT3 Sprint Cup here at Raceface.Pro, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody, from myself, Stephen Koenig, here at THT Productions.